Hi, I'm Betty. Welcome to my kitchen. This morning we're going to be making Scottish shortbread. As a Scot, it's the very first thing I learned how to bake, and I've been baking it ever since, and that's quite a while. Today we're going to be making a slight variation. I'm going to be using some orange flavored sugar, which I made because I happen to have an orange on hand. I grated the peel and mixed it with some sugar and put it in the processor. The other ingredients are plain flour, rice flour, which is available in the Latin section of your supermarket. Goya is the brand that I use, and it's labeled just that, rice flour. I've got half a pound of unsalted butter, and I'm going to be adding a pinch of salt. If you're going to be using salted butter, just omit the salt. And unlike the old days when this was made by hand, beating the butter and sugar in a bowl with a wooden spoon, I'm going to do it in the processor. Save a lot of time and energy. My sugar has caked slightly, which is fine. I'll just give it a whiz to break it up. That smells so good. Okay, that's all that needs. Now at this point, I'm going to add just a pinch of salt. Maybe that was too small. Salt actually helps bring out the sweetness. And I'll add my butter, which I've cut in chunks. And now I'm going to process this until it's nice and light and creamy. There, that looks like it's properly creamed. A little stiff there. Nice and creamy, nice and creamy. So now I'm going to add 1.5 cups of plain flour. Plain all-purpose flour. And we'll process that. There, that's combined, and now I'm going to add the rice flour. And combine that. There, that's fine. All right, at this point, we're going to turn it out onto the counter and knead it by hand for just a few minutes. Now, you can see there are still some crumbs there. So what we're going to do is take it out. There is nothing for dogs here, Mac. I'm just going to dump this out on the counter. And I'm going to knead this by hand for just a few minutes to get it all joined in there. Feels lovely and buttery. I can just taste that buttery goodness. Oh, I get all those crumbs in there. And I can smell that lovely orange flavor. It smells so good. Now what I'm going to do is cut this in half. It doesn't have to be exactly. And I'm going to take a sheet of wax paper have that ready. Start rolling this into a cylinder. It's not quite cohesive, so I'll put it into a ball and start over. You don't want cookies with holes in the middle, that's for sure. Okay, we've got this more or less into a roll, and what I'm going to do is put this on the paper, and then we take the paper, fold it over to an edge, and get a cookie sheet. And just place this in the fold there and push gently. And this is going to form it into a really nice cylinder. Check and make sure that looks quite good. Give it one more little push here. Of course, this determines the size of the cookie. If you want a smaller cookie, all you do is roll this out a bit more. Make it a little thinner. I tend to like small cookies. That way, instead of just one cookie, I can have two, or maybe even three. Now, it doesn't matter that this looks about the perfect size, so I'll give it one last little push. That looks pretty good. Okay, now we'll just roll this up. It's quite soft at this point. So what I'm going to do, and this is a great trick when you're making this kind of cookie that's going to be chilled and sliced, save a paper towel roll and just slip it inside so that when it chills, it'll still be nice and round. So this is going to go in the refrigerator now for an hour or two to firm up. Our shortbread has been in the refrigerator for actually about 2.5 hours. Take it out of its paper tube, and I can feel that they're nice and firm and ready for slicing. You want a thin-bladed, sharp knife for slicing cookies. And what you do is you keep rolling this as you cut them, although this doesn't need to. It's so nice and firm. These don't look exactly round, but they'll be fine. Just pat any errant bits back into place with your fingers. All right, I've got 24 cookies from that roll, and there's still some of the roll left over. So you can expect to get between 5 and 6 dozen cookies out of this recipe. They're going to go in the oven, which I have preheated at 325 degrees, and I'm going to put them in for about 20 minutes. Our cookies have baked for 20 minutes, and as you can see, they're just starting to take on some color. I let them cool on the sheets for a minute or two and transfer them to a rack to finish cooling. And while they were cooling, I chopped and melted some bittersweet chocolate. A serrated knife is the best thing for chopping chocolate. For some reason, it just goes through it easier and makes the task go a little quicker. So the first method will be to dip them in chocolate. And all I do is dip them in about halfway, wipe them off a little on the bottom, and a little hint, when you put them on wax paper to set up, just give them a little nudge, and you'll prevent that little ridge that you often get. So just dip a couple more of these. I finished dipping these, and now I'd like to show you another method of decorating these or any other cookie. First, we're going to make a wax paper cone. I folded a piece of wax paper in half. I'm going to roll it into a cone. And I want a nice, almost invisible, secure that with a piece of tape. Just down along the seam there. And you can see I've got a nice cone here. I'm just going to spoon a little bit of chocolate in here. It doesn't take very much. Okay, I'll let that go down. I'm going to fold the top so that when I do this, my hands don't get all chocolatey. And then I'm going to cut off a very small tip. You can see just how small that is. And then all we do is quickly drizzle the chocolate over the cookies. And you can see what a nice professional looking finish you get with that. And it is so simple to do. And the last one. And there you have it. Shortbread and orange and chocolate. What could possibly be better? Visit my website for some variations on the shortbread theme.